going to hang some stuff on your walls. Guidelines for actually hanging the art. If you are working on a room that you've been living in for a while, the first thing to do is take every single thing off the walls and look at the walls completely clean. Try to look at them in a fresh way and decide what each empty space needs or possibly does not need. It is okay to not put something on a wall. You can leave a blank space. Be very mindful of the scale of the items that you're hanging. If you have a large wall, you have an opportunity to hang either one very large and very meaningful piece, or to hang some substantial pieces. They must all relate. Or to do a lovely large grouping that has a lot of different elements, say a mirror, a sconce, shelving, with some other photographs or artwork mixed in with all of those. A large wall has a lot of possibilities. Another reason to be mindful of the space. Sometimes people put items that are too small on a large wall. I have walked into homes that had a lot of wall space, possibly maybe one long wall in an open concept room, and a lot of little pieces have been spaced out along that wall. The best solutions for long walls like that would be to have one large grouping in one area, maybe a little bit of blank space, and then another large grouping, or to have very substantial art pieces just hanging one at a time in different areas, but small little bitty groupings that are about eye level going all the way down the wall, that starts to look junky and it looks more like an antique booth than it looks like a wall in a home. Be very, very careful that you're not merchandising instead of hanging artwork on a wall. If you need a little bit of filler in a grouping, say you've got two large landscapes, maybe a small mirror or a couple of plates in the middle, but you have some empty space in the grouping, what you may need is filler. Antique stores are great for that. You can find very small, beautiful oil paintings that will just add to or fill in a larger grouping where the other items have more importance. You can find little bitty items that will relate to those and help make the whole arrangement look more complete and more finished. You can also find antique wall brackets and sconces that can be filler in there, as well as small odd-shaped mirrors. Those are great filler. They reflect light, they don't add color, but they also fill in and add elements to an already beautiful grouping. In the right hall, in the right bathroom, possibly guest bathroom, I have seen lovely groupings of different shaped mirrors. Just mirrors. Absolutely beautiful. Sometimes it's really expensive to buy a ginormous mirror to go in one large space. That can be very expensive. But you can find a grouping of small mirrors that are all different shapes and sizes with different frames at antique stores, at garage sales, even at TJ Maxx or Home Goods, to fill in a lovely grouping of mirrors. Absolutely beautiful, and it reflects light in a very different way from just one solid mirror. Remember, it's okay to leave a wall blank until you find the perfect thing for it. If it's not perfect, you don't want it. You do not need filler. You just need the perfect grouping or the perfect item to go in that space. Be willing to wait for it. I'm gonna say this, I probably don't have to say it, but be careful of the content of the items you're hanging on the wall. Some things can be more casual. Some things may be too casual for a foyer, a sitting room, a dining room. Example, you do not want a large, gorgeous landscape painting next to the picture of you and all of your Zeta sisters in 1983 at a Rush party next to it. It's really not gonna work. Save the fun stuff for the more casual areas in the back. Those types of photos look great on an auto frame that you may have sitting out there that just shows memories of when you were growing up, when your kids were growing up. Maybe a more casual setting, but you don't want them to be included in a formal grouping that you're doing in a more trafficked area. You get the drift. Placement. Placement is key. I see a lot of questions on social media from my friends. How high should I hang this photo, this mirror, or this painting? I will say a good guide is if you are standing, you should not be tilting your head up too much to look at art unless You are hanging it over a fireplace, or maybe you're hanging it on a 2-story stairwell and it needs to fit the upper and the lower story so that people can look at it from both sides. Other than that, you really just want it to be, when I say eye level, I would say for the average person. So you're probably looking at the center of the painting or the photo being about 5.5 feet from the floor, the center. So if it's a large painting, it's going to come down, as it should. It'll come down a little bit further. But if it's a smaller, normal size painting, most of it should really kind of be up around where the average person's head is. If you're doing a grouping, the center of the grouping needs to be at the same level. It's okay if you have some stragglers on the bottom. Just think about people moving through the space and whether or not they're going to hit it with purses, luggage, bags, things like that. And think about small hands too. Are they going to be able to reach up and touch some of these items? If you don't want them to, then make sure you are hanging these pieces in a way that they cannot be touched by small hands. Are you hanging art over a sofa? If you are, be careful that if you can sit on the sofa, lean your head back and touch the wall, you don't want to touch the painting. Just make sure these things are high enough for people to be able to lean back and not hurt or damage your artwork. So just go back and think about step 1, which was, what is the overall purpose of the room? Make sure that the purpose of the room is not going to get in the way of your artwork or vice versa. You really don't want fine artwork in a rec room. I remember having a rec room back in the day, and you do not want something really nice hanging on a wall in there. Kids are throwing stuff, they're playing pool, they're playing ping pong, doing all kinds of things that could damage a really special piece of art. So make sure when you're putting art in a certain type of room that has a certain type of function, make sure that they will not fight each other. The orientation of the subject matter is very, very important. If you are doing a grouping, let's say several items, and you have portraits within the groupings, the subjects and the portraits need to be looking inward, not looking outward. It's very important when you're doing a grouping to make sure that everybody is looking within the group, right? Makes perfect sense. Now, I know you have some where they'll be looking straight forward. They can go anywhere in the grouping. But if you have one where they are oriented in one direction or another, make sure it's going inward if at all possible. There's just something very soothing about not having anything looking outside of your subject matter. If you have landscapes, a lot of landscapes will have trees on one side that looks out over, say, a pastoral scene. Make sure you're orienting it so that the trees, the house, the structures are on the outside with the scenes going inward. It will feel more pleasing to the eye if everything is looking inward instead of outward. Size is very important when it comes to artwork. If you have a very large piece, you can just hang it on the wall and it can stand alone with nothing else. One really gorgeous piece of substantial art can be amazing and can have a lot of impact. If you have more than one item that has the same size frame, possibly even the same frame, you can line them up just straight, 2, 3 across over a buffet, maybe midway up the wall where you can see it at about 5.5 foot in the center, maybe over a sofa. That has wonderful impact. Seeing that straight line of identical frames with beautiful content can really add a lot to just one wall. So we all know that things are starting to turn away from the very minimalist, modern looks to a more homey, cozy, grandma kind of look where you can use sconces and shelving on the walls. And I will say, if you were in a lean budget situation, using an inexpensive wall bracket or a small shelf on a wall and putting plates underneath it, or maybe even all the way around it, or doing some lovely little archway of plates over it, that has a lovely, lovely effect. I think it looks great in the kitchen, looks great in a dining room. If you are on a very lean budget and you happen to have maybe a small frame that you got at an antique store that has a lovely little oil painting in it, you can put that in the middle, do a plate above and below. Make sure that the colors are kind of similar. That would be a great way to decorate a wall on a really small budget. If you're afraid to do a grouping, put all the nail holes in the wall, hang everything up, and find that you really don't like the way it looks, What you can do is take each one of the items, trace them on brown paper, put the brown paper on the floor, mix it up, see what looks good shape-wise. Decide what you need as filler. You may already have it somewhere in the house, but put everything out on the floor. See if you like it. Determine how far apart the items need to be. Once you get it the way you like it, you can then take those items, put them on the wall. You tape them up there with a little bit of painter's tape that will not take the paint off. See how the space looks with those shapes on the wall. If you like the way it looks, then start putting the holes in the wall. That would keep you from making a lot of mistakes. I used to do that all the time, I cannot tell you. I just had to go out and buy that filler stuff, spackle, and continue to fill in the holes. Finally, a friend told me, trace it out first. It's a lot easier. I love groupings. I have them all over my house. If you're gonna do that, go ahead and get the brown tracing paper and just do it the right way. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I know I might hurt some feelings when I say this. Be very careful with art that has sayings on it. I have it, I understand, but just because you have a what happens at the lake stays at the lake sign that someone has given you doesn't mean you have to take precious wall space away from something that might be a little prettier. Edit yourself, save the fun stuff for back porches and to maybe put on an easel out on your porch or maybe in the back of the house. Your walls are precious real estate. Make sure what you're putting up there is something that's truly thoughtful, something that other people can enjoy with you, and maybe something that brings a smile to your face. And be wary of putting too much of one thing in one space, of too much of a good thing in one space. Make sure everything looks special and intentional. If you do that, you are going to have lovely walls. Use your space wisely.